Think about the last time someone pulled away from you. You reached out more, you explained more, you made yourself more available, more accommodating, more present, and the more you gave, the further they drifted. Then one day, you stopped. Not as a strategy. You simply ran out of energy to keep chasing. And something strange happened. They came back. They called. They suddenly had time for you. If this has happened to you, you're not imagining it. And you're not crazy for finding it deeply unfair. Friedrich Nietzsche understood this painful paradox more than a century ago. And what he wrote about need, power, and human attraction is one of the most uncomfortable truths you will ever encounter. In this video, you will discover exactly why people treat you better the moment you stop needing them. Point 5 is the one that will make you rethink every relationship you have ever tried to save. 1. Need signals weakness, and people are instinctively wired to move away from weakness. This is not cynical, it is biological. Nietzsche wrote about the will to power as a fundamental force in every human being, the drive toward strength, autonomy, expansion. When you need someone desperately, you are broadcasting the opposite of all three. You are signaling that your stability depends on them, and something in the human psyche, even unconsciously, recoils from that weight. It is not always cruelty, it is often just instinct. People are drawn to what feels strong and self-contained. When you need them, you feel like a responsibility. When you don't, you feel like a choice. 2. Chasing someone confirms their instinct to leave. Here's the part no one wants to say out loud. When you pursue someone who has grown distant, you're not demonstrating love or loyalty. You are demonstrating anxiety, and anxiety is not attractive in a friendship, a romance, or a professional relationship. Every text unanswered and then followed by another text. Every plan canceled and then immediately rescheduled by you. Each of these moves sends a signal. It tells the other person that their withdrawal worked, that they have leverage. Nietzsche believed that those who run after others have already handed over the one thing that makes them interesting, their indifference. 3. Your energy changes when you stop needing. And people feel that change. This is the part that seems almost mystical until you understand the psychology behind it. When you are in a state of need, everything about you communicates it. Your tone, your timing, the way you over-explain, the way you are a little too available, a little too eager, a little too forgiving of things that should not be forgiven. When that need disappears, when you genuinely redirect your energy toward your own life, people around you notice a shift they cannot always name. You become less predictable, less controllable, and suddenly more compelling. 4. Distance creates value, and most people only recognize what they had when it is no longer guaranteed. Nietzsche wrote that human beings rarely appreciate what is constant. It is the uncertain, the rare, the potentially lost that captures attention. When you're always there, always responding, always accommodating, you become invisible through availability. The moment you become unavailable, you become significant. This is not manipulation. It is simply how human perception works. People do not value water until they are thirsty. They do not value your presence until they can no longer take it for granted. 5. The people who disappeared when you needed them were never actually there. This is the hardest point. When you were struggling, financially, emotionally, professionally, certain people became very busy, very distant, very suddenly unavailable. And when you recovered, when you rebuilt, when you started moving forward again, those same people reappeared. Nietzsche identified this pattern clearly. He believed that most relationships are not bonds of genuine loyalty. They are arrangements based on what each person receives. When you needed, you had nothing to offer. When you stopped needing, you became valuable again. That return is not love. It is opportunism dressed in familiarity. 6. Becoming someone who doesn't need them is not a strategy. It is the only real solution. There's a shallow version of this lesson that says, pretend you don't care so they chase you. That is not what Nietzsche taught. The real lesson is deeper. Build a life so full, so focused, so genuinely yours, that their presence or absence no longer determines your peace. When you reach that point, you're not playing a game. You're simply no longer available to lose one. And that is when people show up differently. Not because you manipulated them, but because you finally stopped making their opinion of you the foundation of your identity. Stop chasing people who walk slowly when you're behind them. Stop shrinking yourself to make others comfortable with your need. Stop measuring your worth by who stays and who leaves. The moment you become the most important person in your own life, you will be surprised how many people suddenly want to be in it. Subscribe to the channel, because understanding the invisible rules of power in human relationships is how you stop being the one who always loses.